ultra-processed food, also known as UPF, is now everywhere when we go to the supermarkets. And so in this video, I'm going to show you some really easy alternatives that you can make to reduce your UPF consumption. And first, we are going to start with whey protein concentrate. And if you have anything to do about fitness, you will have at least heard of this product. It is the cheapest, most flavoursome form of whey protein that you can buy in the market. And as you can see, it comes in an abundance of flavours here. I'm going to go with Millionaire Shortbread. And the ingredient that I want you to look out for, particularly on this product, is something called xanthan gum. And xanthan gum is something which is a stabilizer for products. So whey protein concentrate has slightly more fat compared to other forms of whey protein. And so as a result, not only do manufacturers need to find a way to isolate that fat content so it doesn't spill into other areas of the ingredients, but it also needs to improve shelf life. And so xanthan gum is going to be mainly found within whey protein concentrate. The alternative, well, before that, sorry, I will actually show you another. So it is consistent amongst whey protein concentrate. This is from bulk.com. So you've got some xanthan gum there, smack bang in the middle. And whey protein isolate is what I want you to be choosing instead. Now, yes, it does come at a little bit more of an expense, but you will notice that the ingredients are strikingly similar, but there is no xanthan gum to be found. Now, you may see things like sunflower lecithin, but it's been shown many, many times that this ingredient in particular, certainly in like moderate intake, is actually not going to do all too much to your digestive system. So choose isolate instead of concentrate. The next one is going to be protein cereal, and I've used Weetabix as just one example, but protein generally is now quite a marketing material that brands now use in order to sell their products. It is very glamorous now to have protein labeled on your food. And the reality of it is, if we were to compare a protein box of Weetabix, it has 19 grams for every 100 gram serving. A normal box of Weetabix has 12, so you're only really getting 7 grams more. But what you get in addition to this added protein is wheat gluten, as you can see here, and some people are very, very intolerant to gluten. And I do think a lot of the time it's probably the quality of food that they're having with that gluten. But gluten is a protein found in plants, and it is often stripped away from products, but it is then added back in to improve shelf life, to improve texture. And so when you're adding in these ingredients, like with the Weetabix, it is going to create some of these symptoms here. Now, I do think some of them are a little bit extreme, truth be told, but I certainly experienced things like bloating and certainly experienced a little bit of gas. And so my recommendation would simply be pick the non-protein, because you're still going to get a good amount of protein within these cereals, just with their normal version. Another variation of Weetabix is Crunch. And the only reason I bring this one up is, again, it's a very similar format, wheat gluten, but it also has maltodextrin. Now, I won't go down the rabbit hole of what this is, but it does have very similar side effects when used in excess. And let's be honest, the 30 gram or even 40 gram recommendation that they give on cereal, nobody has that. Unless you are literally a child, you're probably going to have closer to 100. So all of a sudden, these dosages that companies market, you're having way more than that. So again, as you can see here, weight gain, gas, flatulence, and bloating. Very normal symptoms. Maltodextrin is added, again, for texturizing reasons. Number 3 is ice cream. Now, this is probably the most ultra-processed food that you can find, just generally, because if you take a step back and look at what ice cream is, it is literally ice that is getting transported all around the country in mass, and it turns up at our doorstep in a solid block. Now, yes, freezers have a lot to play with regards to that, but the ingredients inside are very artificial to allow for the texture that you feel. So Halo is something that I used to have every single weekend, and it's very overwhelming to even think where to start with these ingredients here. But one that I will highlight is erythritol. Erythritol. I can't even say it. But this one here, right here, is going to be a little bit of havoc for your digestive system. It is a sweetener. Low-calorie ice cream has to have an abundance of sweetness because of the lack of sugar. But as a result of this, again, you're going to get very similar symptoms from a digestion perspective. I personally used to have a tub on a Saturday night, and then the Sunday morning, I was passing wind like there was no tomorrow. It was really, really uncomfortable. And all of these other ingredients here, they really do not benefit you. Everyone says like in moderation, totally respect and appreciate that. But these locust bean gum, guar gum, carrageenan, these are all put into ice cream to allow for the texture that you see and feel in your mouth. But they're going to do no good to you. They're really not. And so, you may not anticipate this, but I'm actually going to recommend some other brands like Haagen-Dazs. Yes, it's going to be more calorific, but I would argue the weight that you gain from quote unquote more normal ice cream is going to be more comfortable and actually going to be less than what you would gain from having this artificial ice cream. Because again, this is just going to be a one-way ticket to bloat heaven. And so I would stay away from this. Haagen-Dazs is a good alternative. There's not as many ingredients in this one as you can see here. It's actually quite slim. But two others I want you to hunt down in the supermarkets. Yeo Valley. Yeo Valley Vanilla Ice Cream. Again, look at the ingredients here. It's pretty much the milk, with of course a little bit of sugar, but this here is $4.75. It is a little bit more at a premium, but I'd highly recommend this ice cream. And one more, which I discovered the other week, is Ducci Organic Vanilla Ice Cream from Waitrose, and it's currently £3. And this ice cream here, look at those ingredients. Look how few ingredients there are there. It's literally mainly milk. And so this is going to be far better for your digestive system than that of a Halo tub of ice cream. Next up is peanut butter. This will come in a variety of different forms, and I appreciate those particularly with families who will just go for the cheapest one because they've got so many mouths to feed. But if possible, I would promote that you choose maybe not the entry-level peanut butter, but the one after, because the very cheap peanut butter will come with palm oil, cane sugar, and the sea salt is absolutely fine. But the palm oil in particular is heavily processed. It's stripped of all of its nutrients, and it gives the texture that you feel when you have that peanut butter. And as you can see here, there's a lot of deforestation issues that come alongside it, which is a separate topic entirely. But when you refine something so much, it therefore becomes more difficult for your digestive system to process. And again, there's very little nutrients within it. So if you can avoid the rapeseed oils, then, say rapeseed oils, any seed oils, but rapeseed oil and palm oil in particular are rife in ultra-processed food. If you go the step above, and the example I've got here is Meridian Smooth Peanut Butter, you're literally just going to get the peanuts. And again, I default to saying that I know this is going to be a bit more expensive, but I think the quality of life and the improvement in quality of life that you will experience from choosing these slightly more expensive alternatives for you and potentially your kids is going to be so much more beneficial than just defaulting to the cheapest one every single time. Seed oils generally, they do have a bit of stick generally in the food industry as a whole, but they have been shown to give quite a lot of discomfort to the digestive system, again, just because of how heavily processed they are. So always try and go for Meridian or something like this where there's literally one ingredient. Next up is going to be an example of more of a category of foods, and that is convenience snacks. Now, I know a lot of you watching this are going to probably be working in the office, and you will have probably seen this product before, Fiber Now. There's all sorts of variations of this, but these low-calorie snacks sound great from the outside, like, oh my gosh, I'm having all this fun with this sugar and salt, but I'm only having 80 calories. Now, if you were just to look at that ingredients list, just going to give you 2 seconds to look at that ingredients list. You can appreciate very quickly that there's a lot going on here. And I don't want to demonize anything, but if we have a very common sense approach about this, I would argue to a large extent, this is not food. This is full of additives and preservatives to allow for the texture and for the enjoyment that you get from eating one of these. And it is, again, there's going to be a bit of crossover here, but if we were to look at the ingredients list, you've got your palm oil and your rapeseed oil and your coconut oil in there. You've got some added wheat fiber, which can be very challenging from a fibrous perspective. I mean, fiber is difficult already to break down, never mind when you're adding more into it. You've got some emulsifiers in there. And then again, we've got some xanthan gum and locust bean gum. These two are very similar. But again, it adds that texture and it gives almost this glazing that you see over the chocolate biscuits. That is what those texturizing gums do. And I'll give you one example which is quite boring, I won't lie, but you can add little toppings onto it. Rice cakes are around 25 calories per rice cake, and they are literally just rice. And so from a digestion point of view, this will do you no harm whatsoever. And sometimes we eat out of boredom. So just grab one of these, and not only are they going to be really easy to digest, they're going to have a bit of fiber as well. But on top of that, I would argue if you're going to go down this avenue, I would just go and get some dark chocolate. Personally, I think the sweet spot is 70%, but you may as well, I mean, even though there's a little bit of sugar in there, it's mainly just going to be cocoa or cacao. And that, although it's going to be a bit more calorific, digestion wise, it's going to be way more comfortable, and you probably won't feel the need to eat as much of it. So when you are snacking, I'd probably have a little bit of dark chocolate on standby just to nibble on in the office. Certainly would recommend that. And then finally, I'm going to end with a similar thing, which is low calorie crisps. This was my favorite go-to meal after the gym. I used to have an entire bag of Popworks, which was under 400 calories, and I used to mix it with some Tesco salsa. Now, no wonder it felt like I had a balloon inside of me afterwards, because this product here in particular is predominantly corn. Now, if we were to get the ingredients list here, corn is incredibly difficult for the digestive system to process. It is typically added into products to give that sweetness, to give mainly sweetness, I think, more than anything else, corn flour and corn as a whole. But it is a very complex ingredient. And when you have it in an abundance, and let's be honest, if you're boxing off an entire bag of crisps and only 400 calories, you don't really feel that guilty. You've just had so much fiber, insoluble fiber, meaning it's very difficult for the body to break down. You've had all that in one go. And then on top of that, you've added in some pea fiber, which again is an insoluble fiber, which again, very difficult to break down. You've got all of this fiber in one product with a little bit of sunflower oil. No wonder you feel a bit grim when you box off a whole bag. And what I didn't realize, I naively thought Tesco salsa was literally just tomatoes, but if you look at the ingredients, I was having rapeseed oil, sugar, corn flour, stabilizers. No wonder I felt awful. Snack Jacks are very similar to Popworks in terms of the ingredients that are in those. So 2 crisps I would recommend, and let's be honest, crisps are hard to find in terms of less ultra processed. Kettle chips, the light version, it's probably going to be as close as you can get to just the potato. There is a little bit of rapeseed oil in there, but the large majority is going to be potatoes. Another one which I think is even better is Piper's Anglesey sea salt. Now, I'm pretty sure you can get these in individual bags from pubs, but I probably wouldn't advise doing your weekly shop in a pub. But this one here, I think you get it on British Airways as well, come to think of it. But yeah, literally, potatoes and a little bit of sunflower oil. So if you're going to have some crisps, just pour yourself a little portion in the morning of Piper's Anglesey and you're golden. So yeah, those are a few examples. If you have any questions, please put them below. If you're curious about other foods that you want me to discuss, I'd love to discuss it with you. So comment below and I'll speak to you soon.